Hello, good morning all. Today we'll be making donuts. Wow. We have our ingredients already displayed on the screen and then we have them in place on our work table. Everything. So we will begin by putting everything into our bowl. Then we'll begin mixing. All right. So we have our flour, our butter, our sugar, our milk, our flavors, everything will go into the bowl as we usually do. If you're mixing with your hand, it's the same process, all right? So our milk is going in right now. If you're mixing with a mixing bowl, it is the same process. Put everything right in one bowl, just like we're doing right now. Okay, and then you put in your yeast that you have proved. The reason why I like proving my yeast is that I do not want any kind of surprises. I don't want to use a yeast that is no longer active, so I have to check that it's still active and it will work for me. Now, what happens when you use the yeast that is not working? Your donuts will come out as buns. All right, they'll come out so strong and tough. Okay, so now we've put everything in our mixing bowl and then we have added water. All right, as you can see, I added extra water. What happened? It's because this flour rate of absorption is really high. There are some flour that is very it's old. It's not a newly processed flour. So you can see I'm checking to see if my mixture is okay. It's not okay. It's still breaking, so it's not okay. So I'll continue to mix. All right, this way I'll continue to mix. I'll check the flour for the gluten development. When you are mixing your breads and your dough, this is the process you go through. All right, you check to know if it is properly, the gluten is proper. Can you see now? It's not breaking as easy as it was in the beginning. All right, but if you discover that the elasticity and the way it's stretching is not up to it, you have to keep mixing until you get to that point where you know that yes, your gluten is properly developed. So we have gotten to that point that we would remove our dough from the mixing bowl. Can you see this? Can you see how this looks? This is the level that we want. This is the point that we want. Can you see this? All right, it's not because we use the machine that is like this. Even when you use your hand, you will still arrive at this consistency. This is what we want. Now for donuts, we're not using flour. I just oiled my work surface. All right, so I can mold it the way I want. So I'm working with oil. Can you see that? I am not using flour. All right, if you use flour for this, you might change the consistency of your dough. And remember, donuts are meant to be soft and fluffy. It's meant to be soft and fluffy. All right, so this is a mixture of 5 cups of flour. All right, this should approximately give us 12 balls. Okay, if you're making 10 cups, it should give you 25 balls of large donuts. If you're making mini donuts, 10 cups should give you approximately 50 balls of donuts. All right, so this is it. I'm oiling my tray so that I can form rounds and put in this. All right, there are different ways you can actually achieve this. You can work on this and put them on parchment paper so that it doesn't stick. But if you're making large numbers like 100 donuts, 200 donuts, 300, 500 for maybe a naming ceremony and all of that, you would use too much of parchment paper. So that's why we are using the oil tray. But can you see what I'm doing? I'm hitting it on the table and forming it into rounds. This phase is very simple. One thing I want you to do is to keep watching this phase again and again. Can you see this? Very simple. Make it into rounds and then begin to roll it in your hand like this on the work surface. The ball is in your hand and you keep taking it in a circular motion on the table, just to ensure that you have a round shape and a smooth shape. Now you see what I'm doing? I'm mixing it again with my hand because I want to work it and get it to be softer. When you do this, the energy in your hands will help the dough to become softer, all right? And you see it stretch very well, just like what I am doing. So it will help you to get a perfect round. Can you see that? I'm hitting it on my work surface. The more you hit it on your work surface, the smoother you get. Can you see this? Can you see this? This is what we want. Then you now press the bottom and then turn it upside down and then begin to roll it in your palm, just like I'm doing. And then you use your hand to adjust it. This is the same process when you want to make burger bun breads and bread rolls, sunflower bread rolls, cinnamon rolls, different kinds of rolls. This is the same process. Can you see this? We need something that looks smooth like this. Can you see? I have my other balls that has been done as well, and this is what we want. Okay, so the next step is you cover with a cling film, a nylon sheet, such that it would make it and allow it to rise quickly. Now we want to get it to double in size. All right, so we keep it aside and wait for, let's say, 30 minutes or so, depending on the humidity of where you stay, the temperature of where you stay. If the place is hotter, it rises even faster. All right, so I'm going to keep this on aside and allow it to prove. So now I'm using a deep bottom pot. All right, in frying this, you have to use a deep bottom pot. If you use a flat pot, you may not get what you want. Okay, now see what I am doing. I'm using my spoon, all right, a flat spoon, dipping it in oil, then I pick it from the tray, then I turn it upside down into the oil. Can you see? That is what I'm doing. I turn it to a place that is comfortable for me. I pick it up this way, all right, and then I turn it upside down in the oil this way. All right, so I fry at a very low heat, very low heat. In fact, in the beginning, when you are beginning to fry, it will take some minutes for the first phase to even become a little bit brown. So once you keep checking it, once you have it brown, you turn it upside down, and that's what we have done. Can you see how this is looking? Now, one of the trademarks is that you have that middle mark in the middle of your donut, shows that yes, your donut has proven well and it was properly mixed. Once you have that middle mark in the middle, it shows you that yes, you have gotten it right. All right, so you can see how this donut is looking. It has come out of the oil and is looking really pretty and nice, sumptuous, soft and nice. Now what am I doing? I'm putting it in a cinnamon sugar. All right, I've mixed cinnamon with this sugar because I want something that has that cinnamony taste. But if you want to swirl it in sugar like this, you have to do it immediately you bring it out of the oil, or else the sugar will not stick. Okay, you have to do this face immediately. Look at how this looks. It looks really pretty. Okay, so when you're making donuts, you can make some, swelling it in the sugar, and then you can put some in chocolate. You can put jam in some, depending on what flavor you want. But in this case, we're going to be putting some fillings in our donuts. All right, so we have made a diplomat cream here, using our whipped cream with custard and all of that, and we'll be putting it in our donuts. All right, so this is it. Okay, we'll put this in our injector. All right, it looks like an injection, what they use to inject and all of that, but you can get this from stores and all of that. So you just put this in your donut and then you pump the cream in it. All right, when you're doing this face, you need to be really careful so that you don't have, but this took a lot of cream. All right, so imagine eating donuts, and you are taking a lot of things inside. You are eating something that tastes like ice cream inside the donut. This can really be wow. Another face is, I am putting this donut in sugar syrup. Then I allow the sugar syrup to drain a bit, and then I swirl it in desiccated coconut. All right, this is another thing that you could do. All right, so this is it. All right, we put in sugar syrup, and then we just swirl it in desiccated coconut. See how pretty this looks. This is another option that you could try. Okay, I'm sure your guests would really love this. Another thing I'm doing is that I'm sprinkling some sprinklers into my desiccated coconut. I'm putting the donut in sugar syrup, and then I swirl it in this. I know children would love this because children like to see sprinkles, they like to see colors. Okay, so this is another way that you could do this. There are different ways that you could do this. And another thing I'm doing is that I've melted some chocolates, and then I'm putting it in chocolate as well. Okay, that is another way, another option. So making donuts actually can be done in different ways. Donuts with glazes. All right, so this is chocolate glaze on your donuts. Some people love chocolate, they love the taste of chocolate. You could sprinkle some sprinkles over it like we have done here. You could just come up with your own creations. You could make different kinds of designs on your donuts. The most important thing is that you want to make it really attractive and interesting. Another thing that we're doing is that we are putting in some jam into the donut. All right, this way, can you see? So you can actually do it in different ways. All right, that you know that will be appealing to your guests, especially if they have told you that they want this. I was just like, okay, what if we have cream and jam in one donut? All right, this may just be a little bit too much, but it's something to try. I think it's really nice. Just look at this. It's yummy. You open your donut and you meet something like this in it. It's creamy, it's nice. It's something really worth trying. Okay, and if your guests and your clients know that you can do this, they'll keep coming back to you again And again, it is always and always really yummy. I'm telling you, anytime you do this, always yummy. I want to say thank you for staying with me in this class, and I expect to see your creations. Okay, so here we have our donuts that we have made. All right, have a wonderful time and God bless you. Hello everyone, my name is Chef Sally, and today we'll be making burger buns and beef patties. All right, so we are beginning. Okay, so we have arranged everything as we usually do. We mise en place everything, and we are beginning to make our burger dough. All right, so we have poured our flour into our bowl, and now we are putting in our sugar. Okay, now we are putting in our oil. One thing that you need to know is that when making the bread, it's advisable to use the oil because it will give you a better spread and the softness that you want. All right, so we're adding in the salt, and then the eggs goes right into it. Okay, we're using a lot of eggs from our normal dough that we usually make. All right, so now we have added our milk and then our yeast that we proved earlier. We usually do this to be sure that the yeast is still active and is working. Finally, we add in our water and then we begin to mix. All right, so you do this for anything between 12 to 15 minutes. All right, we just want the gluten to develop properly. We want a very soft and fluffy bread, so we mix this and mix and mix and mix, as you can see. All right, so this is it. If you can use your hand to do this. All right, if you're using your hand, you have to put in a lot of energy but yes, when you have a machine, it's actually better for you. All right, so you mix and mix and mix, and as you can see, it's beginning to be elastic. Can you see this? It's looking so smooth. At this point, we are good to go. All right, can you see this? It's looking elastic. All right, so you bring it out of the mixing machine and then you oil your work surface. All right, and then fold it into a round like this, so that it will be easy for you to be able to cut them into the sizes that you want. Can you see this? Can you see how nice, round, glossy this is looking? Now I am cutting this into different into the sizes. Okay, you can have big sizes, and then you can have the medium sizes, and then you can have the small sizes. All right, you can have an event where you'll be asked to make little burger breads. All right, so for this we are doing a measurement of I think 140. Yes, 140, but here we had 141. It's fine. Anything 1 or 2 is actually insignificant, so we had 140 sizes. Okay, now we are making them into rounds. We're hitting them on our work surface, as you can see, and then tucking it in the middle and ensuring that we have something round like what you can see. Can you see this? This is what we are doing. Okay, in making burger bun bread, this is what to do. It's similar to when you want to make rolls. All right, it's similar to when you want to make jam donuts. It's really similar. So this is it. All right, so when you roll this and you look at the surface and it's not giving you that very smooth, like for this I can see some bubbles here and there. It's not still looking very smooth like what I want, so I had to remix it with my hand because I wanted something close to perfection. All right, so you roll it like this, just like what I'm doing on your work surface. But you know what, because of the heat in your hand, if you mix it too much, it becomes too soft. So you can see I'm using a metal spatula to pick this from the work surface, but it already shows that it's fine. Okay, so what you could do is just to oil your work surface just a little, and then you continue rolling it just like what I am doing. All right, but the moment you begin to feel it in your hand that it's soft, just pick it up and look at it. If you see that the gluten is really developed and is looking really soft and smooth, then you are good to go. Then you begin to hit it on the work surface like what I'm doing right now, and then begin to form a round. You hit it on and then fold it back just like what I'm doing. All right, then just pick it and then form a ball exactly like this, and then turn it upside down. Using your hand this way, begin to roll it on your work surface just to get a perfect round. Then using your both hands, you tuck it in just like this. All right, can you see this is looking smoother, is looking firmer? You need something really firm so that when it begins to prove, the H2O will not release. It will not be released out of the dough, because while the yeast is working, it begins to produce the H2O in your dough. It is very important that it is trapped inside the dough. All right, so you can see this. So we are making some rounds. As you can see, this is just what we are doing. All right, so we have made a lot of rounds. As you can see, we made some large, and then we made some tinier than the other ones, mini burger bun dough. All right, so you can see them all in our tray. Okay, so now we are cling filming it. Okay, but remember that when you are cling filming it, just ensure you use oil spray or brush to brush your cling or your leather or your nylon or whatsoever it is you're using, so that when it's rising, it's proving, it doesn't get stuck to the nylon. So you can see, so what I'm doing right now is that I am just rubbing the oil over it, then I turn it upside down and then cover the dough. All right, cover the balls. Okay, so we're going to keep this aside and allow it to prove. All right, we'll allow it to double in size, and this can be in 10 minutes, it can be in 15 minutes, it can be in 20 minutes or 30 minutes, depending on the temperature. All right, so now we are moving on to making our beef patties. All right, I'm not sure there's any burger without that beef in the middle. No. All right, so the first thing is that we've added our seasoning to the beef. Okay, and then we're shredding in some cheese into this. We're using some Parmesan cheese in this case. All right, we just shred just a little into it just to give it that, pungent aroma, in our beef. But if you do not have Parmesan cheese, you can skip that. All right, so our milk has gone in, then our eggs right now, just one egg. All right, so the next thing is our garlic, black pepper powder, our chili powder, and then our garlic powder. Yes, finally. All right, so we put in all of that into the meat, and then we go in with oyster sauce. If you have Worcestershire sauce, could also work just a little. And then we have added in our breadcrumbs into this, and then the next thing that is going to go in is our herb. You could use the dried herb, but in this case we're using the fresh herb, and this is oregano. Okay, minced it very, very tiny bits, and then we've put in 2 tablespoons. Then using my hand, I'm mixing everything all together just to ensure that everything goes right into the meat. All right, so you mix and mix until you are sure that everything is well incorporated, just like what I'm doing. Okay, so you mix and mix and mix. It's very important to mix. All right, you can use your hand, you can actually use a mixer if you're making in large batch. Okay, you can use a mixer to do this. All right, but of course for this we're using our hand. So this is it. So you take a ball, you take a portion and then turn it into a ball like this. Okay, is either you do it on your work surface or you do it in between your both hands. Okay, you can using your both hands, you can form it into a round and then you press it together, or you do it on your work surface just like what I have just done. Okay, you make them round and then you press it down for it. So you can have, the large ones, you can have the small ones, depending on what you're making. So now we've kept the beef patties in the fridge to rest for like 30 minutes, and now we're on to baking our breads. Okay, so we're putting the breads in the oven to begin to bake. All right, so this is it. We'll put that right in to the oven. All right, and then we bake at 180 degrees. So this is it. The breads are ready already. So you can see they're is it golden brown? Yes, light brown kind of. You don't allow them to burn. So we have our burger rolls. Okay, so you can see it's looking shiny and glossy like this because we brushed them with butter, melted butter. All right, it's very important when you do that, when you bring your breads out of the oven, especially if you are making burger rolls. All right, brush them just for extra smoothness and softness. Okay, so now we are arranging, mise en placing our ingredients for the assembly. All right, because we have made our burger buns and we have made our beef patties. Now we need to arrange the other things that we're going to put in between the breads. And burger is beef and then vegetables. All right, it looks like sandwich. You sandwich everything together: the bread, the vegetables, the tomatoes, the onion, the lettuce, everything. You put it in between and then you eat it as one. So now we are cutting our onion and our tomato in rondelle. All right, remember our cutting skills. When we're talking about our dried tomatoes, we cut our tomatoes in rondelle. So for burger, that's the same thing we're doing. You can use your knife to achieve this, and then if you have a mandolin, you can use it to cut your onion and your cucumber, but it won't be able to cut your tomatoes for you well because tomatoes are softer. All right, so you can see we have cut everything. All right, and then it will interest you to know that we also made this ketchup. There's a class for making of ketchup. You can go through that class and know how to make your ketchup. So now we are putting the ketchup into a small piping bag. All right, so for it to be ready for us to use. All right, we'll put our ketchup into a small piping bag, and then we're putting our mayonnaise as well. And it will also interest you to know that we made this mayonnaise as well. So how interesting is this? You're making everything. You're making your mayonnaise, you're making your ketchup, you're making your breads, you're making your patties. Then you can imagine the profitability that you're going to get from this business. Imagine that you're doing this and you have to go and buy the bread, you have to go and buy the beef patty, you have to buy your mayonnaise, you have to buy everything. I mean, if you are not going to charge really high, you may not really make your money, but it's good if you know how to make these things, okay? So now we are grilling our beef patties, okay? And we're doing this in a pan, okay? You can do this in an oven and you can do it in a pan. Any of it is fine, okay? Just put in a little oil and then you do it on medium heat on both sides, okay, just like what we're doing. So you can see that the beef patties are in different sizes. Like I said earlier, we are making for the large burger, and then we are making for mini burgers as well. All right, so this is it. So whilst you're doing this, you use your flat spoon, to ensure that the heat is penetrating right to the middle of it, just like what I'm doing. All right, so you do it on both sides. Our beef patties are ready, and now we are assembling. So you can see I've taken one bread and then I'm cutting it into two, but not into two equal parts. So the base, the top has to be bigger than the base. The base should be thinner. Yes. So the first thing I'm doing is I have put in my mayonnaise, and then I put in my lettuce that I have washed. All right, when you get your lettuce, you wash them in salted water and vinegar. So the next thing that goes in is our beef that we had grilled earlier, and then our cheese. This is cheddar cheese, sliced cheese, okay? The beef is hot, and that's why when you put the cheese on it, it's looking like it's melting. All right, so the next thing that goes on it is your mayonnaise. Wow, is somebody already salivating? Then after that, you put in your ketchup. All right, just like what I am doing, because the combination of your mayonnaise, your ketchup, your onion rings, your tomatoes and cucumbers, okay, you put all that in the middle, just like what I am doing. Okay, so you top it again with your mayonnaise and your ketchup, because it's meant to be juicy, it's meant to be yummy. It's not actually meant to be dry. No, burger is not meant to be dry. It's meant to be interesting. When you are taking this, you are meant to be having this feeling of wow, this yumminess, this and all of that. So we put all together like this, and then we also use the mayonnaise to brush the top, and then we cover it like this. All right, so using a skewer or any thing to secure, you just secure the burger in one place using a skewer or anything that you have, just like what I have done. All right, so as you can see, we're assembling another one. It's still the same process. All right, just for you to look at it again, we are making a mini burger this time around, so it's still the same. So just look at this, and it would help you to be able to do it on your own. Okay, all right, so it's the same process like what I said earlier. Okay, this is Chef Sally. All right, I always encourage you that there's nothing that you cannot do with your hands. You can do this. You can just have a good spot around your place just to make burgers, shawarmas, and all of that. Serve with fruit juice, smoothies, milkshake, and all that. So think of something to do, all right, with your hands. And I know that you would experience a great open door. So this is it. All right, watch it again and again and try, like I always would say to you. All right, so I wish you all of the best, all right, in your venture and in your works. All right, so this is Chef Sally saying have a wonderful day and just keep watching. All right.